What's up, guys? Today's video is not going to be about construction. It's going to be about what's going on in the news with anchored homes. There's a company in the Bay Area, I think their name is Anchored Homes or Anchored Casitas, Anchored ADU, something with anchor. But what drove my attention is that this company basically had a franchise of ADU companies throughout California, and they were taking on too many projects. So long story short, they left a lot of homeowners holding nothing. And I was just looking at the news reports, and that's something that could be 100% avoidable if you know exactly what you're doing. But most of the time, we don't. So what I'm gonna try to do in this video is just lay out a few tips that people can use to avoid being scammed by companies that take up a lot of money up front. Step number one, most big companies that build ADUs will want the plans and the construction to be done in-house. Basically a one-stop shop. My problem with that is that if you give a company so much control over your project, you basically have almost no way to get out of it. And sometimes these companies want to do the financing as well. Once again, I saw another video on YouTube, and this contractor said, we're gonna find the money no matter what. If you wanna build this ADU, we're gonna help you, we're gonna find the money. In one way, it sounds helpful. In another way, it basically means that they're gonna get whatever financial deal to finance the project and for the contractor to get the money, and then the homeowner is once again left with a bad deal. So in my opinion, what I do on my projects every single time is have an independent designer draw the plans for the project, and then what you can do is negotiate with multiple contractors so they can bid on your project. That way you're not stuck with one company doing the plans and the construction. You have no way to know if you're getting a good deal under construction or the plans. Sometimes I take calls and homeowners send me their estimates from the contractor. And a big trend that I've seen is that some contractors will say the project is, let's say, $200,000, and we're only going to charge you $3,000 for the plans. In my opinion, that sounds like a very good deal, but you have to go deeper and see what the details are. I would say to that deal, you know what? I'll pay for the plans, and then maybe if your estimate is good, you can do the construction. But what those companies are going to say is, if you're not getting the construction with us, the plans are going to be $10,000. And that's a way for these companies to hook you in to do the entire project. But if people shop around, you'll find out that to convert a garage to an ADU, I'm not talking about new construction or a garage addition, just a standard garage conversion here in the city of LA, that cost should be no more than $5,000 if your project is in the city of LA. If it's LA County, it might be just a bit more. But there is no way in hell the plans to convert a garage into an ADU should be $10,000. And that strategy is done by a lot of contractors. And I'm not saying that if a company provides the plans and the construction is a bad deal. Some companies do provide that service and they are great deals. But you have to look at the details and make sure that when you talk to the contractor, you say, do the plans, but I'm not signing an agreement for the construction. Once the plans are approved, then if your estimate is still within the ballpark figure of what I'm trying to pay, you can do the construction. But don't sign a deal basically giving so much leverage to a construction company. So once you know who's gonna do your plans, by the time the plans are 80 to 90% approved, then you can shop around with multiple contractors so they can bid on your project. The way that I'm explaining it is very difficult because if you're going to refinance your home, you don't know how much money to take out for the construction. So I'm just saying this strategy is difficult, but it pays off. The way that it pays off is that you have the power to negotiate with multiple contractors so they can bid on your project and you end up getting the best deal. Another thing that's very important in construction is that homeowners don't trust contractors. And if you're that type of person that you just don't trust anybody, The best thing that you can do is have the entire construction process done through a escrow construction company. What that basically means is that you as a homeowner, you give the money to an escrow company, and if you bought a home, you know exactly how that works. The escrow company manages the entire deal. So the money sits with escrow, and what's going to happen is when the contractor finishes one stage of the construction, they will bill the escrow company, and the escrow company is going to release the money. It's not going to be in a way that the contractor is going to say, I want $50,000 today, I want $30,000 tomorrow, and no work has been done. By having the construction process through an escrow company, what happens is the contractor is going to have to show that the work is being done in order for the escrow company to pay them. That's an additional service. It costs money, but it brings you peace of mind. And lastly, another thing that people don't know that they can do is whatever contract you're given by a construction company, when you see those things, there's a bunch of information, and all that information is written for the benefit of the construction company. And what you don't know is that you can make your own amendments to that contract and basically have the negotiation meet halfway in the middle. They don't win and you don't win. It's a compromise. And the way that I see it is from a point of view of a realtor, because that's what I do. If I can negotiate a $1 million sale, why can't I negotiate a $100,000 ADU? It blows my mind how people don't do amendments to the contract that they're given. I'll give you a quick example. If the contract says the homeowner to provide $30,000 on the day of the signing, what I would do, I'll make an amendment. It could just be a piece of paper, amendment number 1 on top, and it would say I would give you $10,000 and $20,000 when the work is done, and so on and so forth. And you can negotiate the entire deal from the start all the way down to the last inspection. You can dictate the rules that the contractor has to follow. Obviously, don't go overboard, midway, have the middle. But if a contractor is not willing to negotiate with you on some things that are fair, in my eyes, it means that that contractor is out for him and just to finish that project, get paid, and move on. A contractor that cares about their clients will meet in the middle and basically try to find a solution for the problems that always come up. And it all begins with that initial contract that the homeowner signs. Make your own amendments, tell the contractor this is what you want, and if they're willing to drop a deal over an amendment that they don't like, don't work with that company. I can say these things because I am not a contractor. There's nothing for me to gain. But a contractor that has a YouTube channel, that has a podcast, that has a crazy Instagram, an insane TikTok, they're not going to say these things. All those things make that contractor look bigger and more expensive. That's exactly what Anchor Homes did. They just looked big online, and nobody knew that they had a lot of debt on the other side, and homeowners were putting down deposits, 30 grand, 40 grand, X amount, and that contractor basically had a Ponzi scheme. He was taking from Peter to pay Paul. That contractor had his bank account connected to the homeowner's bank account, and I think they withdrew $200,000, $300,000 in one day, and by the time the homeowner wanted to get their money back, the bank said no, and Anchor Tiny Homes, I think they went bankrupt, so that homeowner is out $200,000 or $300,000. There's basically almost zero chance that they get that money back. And that's what really breaks my heart, that these overall construction companies look big, they show up to your house, they think they know it all, they look scary, you call the contractor and a receptionist picks up, then a sales guy shows up, and then you're followed up by somebody on the phone. So it just looks like a massive company, and you're afraid to make your own demands. But you can, no matter how big the company is, you can make demands, and if they don't meet your demands, go to the next company. Is that easy. I do it all the time in real estate, and nothing is stopping me from doing that on a construction contract. To summarize this video, I would say get your own independent plans from a third-party designer, because there is no conflict of interest between that company and a construction company. They don't care about the construction. A construction company wants to get everything all together. The other thing is, don't finance with the construction company. Go to a credit union, call the person that helped you buy the house, refinance, get a equity line of credit, maybe a second mortgage. I might talk about a second mortgage a bit more because they're really good, but don't finance a project with a construction company. And number 3, when you actually get your plans approved, shop around with multiple contractors at the same time, maybe 5 or 6, send them the plans, find out what their estimate is per plans, and if you like that number, spend your time with that contractor to go to your house to give you an estimate that is going to be accurate. And lastly, when you get a contract, you can negotiate, make amendments to the contract, change things that you don't like. And if you don't trust anybody, hire a construction escrow company to handle your project. If you do all those things, you're going to get the better end of the deal. Thank you, and I'll see you guys on the next one.